In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. May all mothers, sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mothers, sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. On to page 16. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the two vehicles and their combination according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings. Semchen Namki Sambhata Loye Cheta Chetava Che Chong Tumong Te Kwae Cho Jian Gu Tamke Tuji Shazir Sun Chong Shenji Metal Duji Bunjo Zizin Hambo the Vivi Shazir Jiru Shola Chan no Dojin Sansen de Lonaro Tamarva Mela Chujicum Mahamudra Java and Dragon Bagaju Lamana Nazarvan de Zenager Station Laman Chancho Sente to Semelon and Drovakuna Pempansi Bana Adi Shalazurvan de Laja Tani Chancho Mato Jibaran Shanson Jinjam to Choni Chancho Sim Chong Chancho Simji Shindon Chibo Shoji Yama Jimmy Chuji Bill Satan Namji and Terra Zone to the Chanke Company also show or Tangazo that Digvaya Mendi in a get and Roson. That the jet part Jan said it was one absorber on Santi Alason absorber. Melody is on Sony's and being them Marik to Son Sons, Marik Stonwick, Son Challenge Gorgio, and Marin the Zone Son, the Shongan Sonly. What he gone, Sonin being the Masana. Sonin being the Besson in the Masana. Tabby they were top zones on Tabby they were took Maris. Tabby they were took Maris. Tabby they were took Maris on Sons, Marik. Sonin Besson in the Masana, Tabby they were took Maris. Son Sons on Ra. Tabby saw Sayakanana, the Yahuti Menditis. Menditis, I just don't know. nige zhap tang jiba, la tang mik, bian jor long chu, pusong soba, sama so so lo lang de, yang pu shio shirwa.
Di so sa yak shio manda, dini?
De zi len xie zhap tang jiba, la mik, bian jor pusong soba, do yong kharwa na sama so so lo lang de, da ya gong chao zong de, di so jing de yorwa, tra ya pu shio shirwa. 我这会真的是嘛？这当让去溜了铺过去，这让溜他也但我都早起后头说说溜出来，溜那样铺过去的，溜上去吧，上嘛，可能那做这样做，做那么啥呢？真的，他小在新闻我都差不过去了，这钞票了，我溜那样铺的，不考虑是溜的多。我真的，我就是铺过去的，这铺下来的那些他妈。 他面对了，印度的这边面对，当不边面对是，当不面对这边面对是是吧？我在这边面对是在这当心呢，重新去进那这块，重新这边面对是确实不可能下，这就那下这个可以加嘛，他来下，这但就是东巴东的，这重新介绍新的这块，重新是吧？我重新在江州重新那些，我开别家先于东把上面东北外用呢，东北在了一个写的欧的外用呢。
东
欧提纲的了，但的面对是欧嘛是什么当的拉嘛有了，都是想着我拉嘛是这些就别拉嘛过的，但对于一档也上节加不300球。也上节加不300球。 用研究我他就到光桥上，第一件他可球场中嘛一些，他可那么也他们看着球场中嘛，他说球场中嘛一些这样他的嘛，我就是上面过到什么的，他来也铺过去了做的，我这去，我这几过去，但是他几过去，可是面对面呢，马上中在多马上俺说，多马上俺说。 几乎面龙着面对小山着在用的提高马上着在说集体下的措施，确实的是嘛是的，这是面对上面呢，面对我那样不要他们呢，这现在的说面对家的家着我同步就用的提高，我在铺上的说的吧。
So, the
我这去，那那嘛子老啊，是吧？面当我着希望的，我着希望的，我着希望的啦。 我着希望的，我着希望的。我咱去吧，面对了你的是这边面对，他不边面对，他不面对来把它起来，就这么去，那错了错别些眼看出去过一些当点吧，上体育说那里多还缺些，身给季节代表车上过去，边马上，你到边没点上去吧，这位50这位那么下次那多也当下次单独着去考，单独着问题可能那么挺对的去考的。 说他也可以说他的上节，脑部产品加不可以说是吧？脑部光桥上节光桥脑部球强头跟对光桥说，他一趟的老安这个多头些，这光桥在那么大，我这样出呗，咋办的？咋办了？那么了咋办的区别？那么他们去点一档了，一档他做他上节了，球去上节球了产品球8的没吧，跟对你了。 你让他上学，先把他说别给跑别给你把都没把他点了。
So, picking up where we left off, so we with the Vajrasattva, so Vajrasattva being the supreme method for purifying obscurations, negativities, defilements, and obscurations. Then we have the preliminary of mandala. So the mandala is the method for accumulating merit. And so among all of the different methods for accumulating merit, mandala is the most supreme. And so actually there's a song, one of the songs in which Milarepa sang to Rinpoche, he was recounting the instructions from his Lama Marpa, and so where he says that if you don't make effort in the gathering of the two accumulations, then there is no way to reach the bliss of liberation, or the final happiness and bliss of liberation. And so, as far as gathering the two accumulations, or specifically the accumulation of merit, then mandala is really a profound method to accumulate merit. And so, when in offering a mandala, essentially there is this idea of it, embodying all of kind of the wealth and pleasures and enjoyments and kind of beautiful things that exist throughout the universe. It is at first comprised of, Mount Meru and the 4 continents, and all of the kind of finer sensory pleasures and enjoyments of among the realms of gods and humans. And then, of course, there is also the offering of one's own body. And the reason for this is because there's nothing that we cherish more than our own body. And so it is a great accumulation of merit to also then, like in offering our body toward virtue, giving our body, like completely dedicating our body in the service of virtue. So this is the profound means, like the most profound means of accumulating merit. And so in order to, as was said before, the way to realize Mahamudra is through devotion to the Guru and accumulation of merit. So in order to realize Mahamudra, there has to be this preliminary of accumulating the vast accumulation of merit. So here in the text, it is also referencing the 2 types of mandalas. There is the mandala, which is kind of the mandala of support. I think actually I decided to switch the translation that I'm using, so I found another translation. So I decided to use this one, and here it's referred to as the established mandala. And then secondly, then there's the offering mandala, the mandala that is offered, that one practices offering through. So the mandala, the established mandala, or the mandala of support, is often that is a mandala that, for instance, would be placed on your shrine. So like it's a representational mandala that actually is a support for the field of accumulation. So it is then visualized really like to be like the refuge tree. So in the center, it is like, for instance, it's like the wish-fulfilling tree with 5 branches. In the center, there's the branch of the Lama, which is mainly represented by Vajradhara. Maybe in the center there, Vajradhara. In the front is the branch of the Yidam deities. And to the right, the branch of the Buddha, or Buddhas. And in the back, the branch of the Dharma. And to the left, the branch of the Sangha. And so in this way, you visualize that mandala that is the established mandala. And then on the bottom, of course, then there's also surrounded by all the dakas, dakinis, and dharma guardians, possessors of the eye of wisdom. So those dharma protectors that possess the wisdom eye. And if you don't have the implements for an actual physical mandala, there's also the mandala of 5 heaps. So that would be like having a plate, and it can even be made with torma. So the central column of the torma is a little bit higher than the other 4 surrounding it, but there's sort of like these pillars, these 5 pillars that represent that established mandala. So the mandala section, it says, the mandala practice has 2 parts, the mandala to be established and the mandala to be offered. The first, clean the mandala well and visualize a square celestial palace made of precious materials with 4 gates. In its center and in the 4 directions are precious thrones supported by 8 lions endowed with sun, moon, and lotus seats. Practice so that your principal guru, I think I'm going to slow down actually. I think that helps me. My cough. I'm going to slow down. In its center and in the four directions are precious thrones supported by 8 lions endowed with sun, moon, and lotus seats. Practice so that your principal guru remains on the central throne. In the east, the tantric deity. In the south, the Buddha jewel. In the west, the Dharma. In the north, the Sangha jewel. They emanate rays of light. Thereby, the principal guru and all the gurus of the lineage dissolve into the guru. The assemblies of the tantric deities dissolve with the tantric deity. The Buddhas of the 10 directions dissolve into the Buddha. Immeasurable dharmas dissolve into the excellent dharma. The immeasurable noble sanghas of Shravakas, solitary Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, etc., dissolve into the sangha. The second part of the mandala to be offered. Place a single heap in the center of the vast golden ground made of precious materials and visualize it as the supreme Mount Meru of the center of the world. Place one in the east and visualize it as the continent Puravideha, one in the south and visualize it as Jambudvipa, one in the west and visualize it as Aparagodania. And oh, I'm sorry, he didn't read that part yet. Sorry.
solo dala tokpan chota jeba zi tu zor nyamnyong junchi mi bar charbar chinji la zo sekin tu yedam che la so da ke du long chu ke za ba chamji la bu lo yong su xie su dala tokpan chota jeba zi tu nyamnyong junchi mi bar charbar chinji la zo jo gong chao zum da ke long a yi song ke za ba nam nam bu lo yong su xie su dala tokpan chota jeba zi tu nyamnyong junchi mi bar charbar chinji la zo xie su ba da bi de dan wo yu ren tu jin de gong mo da ma lo sha de ba.
So then with the offering mandala, the mandala that's offered, so there is, oh yeah, maybe I can get, also I might get, because James actually has the other text, so it might make sense to get him to read sections of it. But actually I'm feeling okay right now. I took a Dayquil, so I'm thinking that this has suppressed the cough. Hopefully it won't affect the clarity of my mind. So the mandala that is offered, the offering mandala, is sometimes the 37 heaps. So we do the mandala of the 37, like the 37 heap mandala. And then here it is the 7-point mandala. And so that's like mainly with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and moon. And so this is following the prayer that we're familiar with. For instance, that we read in the prayer book, you know, Sashi Bucho, how do we say it in English? How does it start? The ground is sprinkled with scented water, strewn with flowers, etc. So this corresponds with that practice of the 7-point offering. And actually, Drikung Kyabgen Rinpoche said that it's fine to just do the 7-point mandala offering because there's, as opposed to the 37-point, because everything is contained within that. There isn't anything that is missing in the 7. It like represents, all of it. And so it is perfectly sufficient to do the 7-point offering mandala. And so then for this section in the text, it says, the second part is the mandala to be offered. Place a single heap in the center of the vast golden ground made of precious material and visualize it as the supreme Mount Meru of the center of the world. Place one in the east and visualize it as the continent Puravideha, one in the south and visualize it as Jampudvipa, one in the west and visualize it as Aparagodania, and one in the north and visualize it as Uttarakuru. Place one heap between the center and the eastern heap and visualize it as the sun, and place one heap between the center and the western heap and visualize it as the moon. Fill up the spaces in between with various precious materials of the 3,000 world systems in the form of piles so that it is perfect with the possessions and wealth of gods and men. Offer your body, possessions, and the wholesome imprints accumulated in the 3 times without reservations and pray. Excellent Guru, I offer my body, all my possessions, and roots of my wholesome imprints. Please accept it completely. Please cause the supreme realization to dawn in me. Please bless me that uninterrupted experience may arise. Assembly of Tantric deities, I offer my body, possessions, and all roots of my wholesome imprints. Please accept them completely. Please cause the supreme realization to dawn in me. Please bless me that uninterrupted experience may arise. Lord Buddha, Supreme Jewel, I offer my body, 3 jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and all roots of my wholesome imprints. Please accept them completely. Please cause the supreme realization to dawn in me. Please bless me that uninterrupted experience may arise. Thus pray with these and other recitations, then having performed the preliminaries for a long time, perform the actual practice. Dini yang chak masane.
Yes.
Dance party.
Yeah, take a yet and
So the Dayang Cheko Gomendo did not Torgio
Wow.
Chuck's masane. So essentially, there are there are actually 3 different ways you can practice mandala in the context of like Mundro practice. So there's the method of doing the 37-point mandala each session and then doing prostrations to the mandala And each time you go down with a prostration, you offer some more rice, you toss onto the mandala. And this is the method, for instance, Jirvan Rinpoche first did this method, and you accumulate, the accumulation is the accumulation of 100,000 prostrations. Then there's the other method of doing the 7-point mandala over and over again. So you do, when reciting Sashi, the ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers and so on. And you do that again, doing with the motions that were just indicated in the text here with each of the 7 heaps. And then you wipe it off and you start over again. But he's done that one too. And what you accumulate are the recitations in that case of the mandala offerings together with the actual physical representation. And Jirvan Rinpoche said he's done that one also, and he finds it to be more difficult because you get sleepy because you're not doing the prostrations, and also it's like a lot to keep track of because your hands are moving and you're trying to keep count with the mala and recite at the same time. So it's actually kind of difficult. And then there's a very relatively easy method that just involves reciting that the ground is sprinkled with water, accumulating that recitation and just tossing rice without the prostrations, tossing rice onto the 37-point mandala, or the fully offered mandala.
Well, that many people at the duty rap Jones, they are Rinpoche, right? You want to agree, they may not say man, so that men are sample troll, so what is a print degrees, they may not underrate them. There's a print degrees. They should mean that the sad or print degrees, so mina. What else on Jura be the poo and the curious? What is on it? You might similar about Tamara Jera. Mara Tambo and GT similar beta. Not Matifa Chimposins, Matifa Chimposins, seek Dogo Chuson, to lock on her, Simon to lock on her. Chew Naya, the Songa, Chixi, Ropachi Rosis, Melunga is some chili puggins. The Marvecars. Dogo Chuson some other young Maris. Yan do himba do quote himbachi, Chu in Langos. Yan Chu himbachu, Dogo thing a jigos. Say that Chuna the Lunga is on Puyatabe, Yawarista. And I'm talking was.
He said his ears are small, so they are.
The Chuna Lunga is on Puya, Yawari Larva. The Jizimala River, Ya and other Chuna or Sisra, Chuna or Sis, the deal, the Malariba Lomo, the Ja, this and Sayat and Jerry. In that time, American Jilla Tachina, Tangi Sama and Yetik was Sama to lots on Yetik was Jonan combat Jarosis. The Larete. Then combat Jashi did it. Chu do Nayo Marash and the Nangamara. The machine by Chunan, the one that Jalan to Malari Pater, the boot the water, pushed into Chirasha. Then you must Chu Picha Rasam, Stang and Boon jeans. The Marik Jam, the hero, Daminamo, tell the Lare. 당연히 타피시고 나를 담이나무 그냥 타피시고 스님아제 다 지심을 도티디 있어 스코어 도티유라 back on back this score 다 초랑 로지도 그게 만로도 스마르엔드 데 코니 데니제 치노가 마르에 담라레 반로기제 파코 뇽 담이나무 만로제 소르테 샤 데 마르에 치니 카르시 보세요 안도 치니 카르시 보세요 뇽 담이나무 그 추나로 되네 나시면도 서로 추나로 되네 나시면도 다콘 분로지도 나마시 바사 샤든 네 그만로 다 추나는 그래서 라쇼스 zelado yas de marik ta doditene nge jala choki ya wang yo maris de dodit nge jala res de so chuna wang yo maris ina ta cho tambo le dunga la lunga isom pu la sarwas lunga isom pu ji de de lunga pu sa le chuna lunga isom nga wang nga to na da kar china nga wang yo res ta de 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 kap chong da dang men de yang de koni yom dang men hamon ma la re pek de ka nam ro jo me do
So the best when offering a mandala, it's best to choose like the sort of most valuable substances that you can, depending on your means. So, the best, for instance, would be like a mandala of gold, but if not, maybe of lesser sort of precious substance such as silver or copper. And then also then the contents, you can use grains of like good quality grains, rice, also mixing in, for instance, the 6 medicines, the 6 noble medicines. And then, and if you don't have those, even like if it were somebody who really had nothing at all, they could even offer a mandala using sort of like wood and even earth as the mandala that they offer. And so Milarepa, when he first met Marpa, he said, "I'm somebody who has, who's a really defiled and has such great negativity. I've accumulated so many negativities. So I'm here to practice the Dharma, but I don't have anything, so please provide me, with like clothing and food and teach me the Dharma. And in exchange, I offer you my body, speech, and mind." And Marpa said to him, well, I can't offer you both food and clothing and the Dharma. So you have to choose. You can either go get food and clothing elsewhere from someone else, and I will teach you the Dharma, or you can go. I can give you food and clothing, and you can seek the Dharma somewhere else. But it's good that you've offered me your body, speech, and mind, he said. And so then then Milarepa said, yeah, but of course his purpose of coming was to learn the Dharma, to receive the Dharma. So then he said, I want to receive the Dharma. I'll figure out, food and clothing some other way. And so then Marpa said to him, eventually he said, okay, I'll go ahead and provide you, basically like lodging and food and clothing. But you have to build all of these, you have to build me a house, you have to build me a building, a tower. And so this is how that whole kind of period of building the towers and taking them down and building them began. And of course, Marpa still actually wasn't giving Milarepa the Dharma. He wasn't teaching him the Dharma. He wasn't giving him empowerment. He wasn't allowing him to attend with any of the other disciples. And so Milarepa started to get really discouraged, and he thought, that's it. I can't stand this any longer. He's never going to teach me the Dharma. I don't know what to do. And he became very depressed. And so then he and Dagmama, Marpa's wife, devised a plan where they sort of acted out. Milarepa put on a knapsack and, looked as if he was leaving and was like, yeah, I'm leaving. And then, Dagmama was saying, no, don't leave, Milarepa, don't leave. And she was pulling on his backpack, trying to get him to stay, or pulling on his robes, trying to get him to stay. And they were in this sort of struggle, but it was very theatrical because, of course, what they wanted was for Marpa to see this. And then Marpa came and said, what are you two up to? What are you doing? And Dagmama said, he's leaving because he thinks you're never going to teach him the Dharma. And I told him he should stay because you will teach him the Dharma, right? And then Marpa said, well, you have no right to take my things with you, so give me the backpack. And furthermore, you offered me your body, speech, and mind, so it is mine, and I can do what I wish with you. So you basically you have no freedom, no power to leave. Now get back to work. No.
这种的马瑞给马拉的把老马咋进步，谁话进步有的，你那可能你马得快嘛没记了，再讲下去。
Yeah. So actually, Milarepa was actually the most beloved of Marpa's students. He loved him dearly. He had great affection for him, but he knew he had a tremendous amount to purify. And so his very harsh behavior was the skillful means to help Milarepa purify his negative karma.
전에 다 전세 지장아 정원로 됐어. 당원로 지지 당오지래 승오지세 니방오지라 니데 심리 용망 오조와 당토 오조와 다 심리 용망 오조와 당토 오조와 심리 요레스 당보 심리 오조와 달라 신내 당통이 요레스 我这现在这两现在电钱设置的，大些电钱电米才有啥吧？现在你。
So then we've been through now all of the preliminaries in this particular text or in this context. And then we get to the actual practice, which has two sections. So the introduction of the true nature of mind, or the true absolute nature of mind, and the introduction to the nature of appearances. And so the first one, the introduction to the true nature of mind, has two sections, the sections being calm abiding and insight, or vipassana, superior insight. And so then calm abiding has two sections. There are the methods of support with using a support, and calm abiding without support.
레버지 스타트 루트 장충코스 야보고 중국 여상신의 메타 쪽 가서스 중국에서 여러 남남 초등이 말해 남남 초등이 전주 다지상류네 공명 전주 여러와 어쨌든我在街上是几天中国的轮理或者中有了，我在街上是刚把多的集中时间呢，都是弄完对出过来是，都是弄些呢。 我想呢，这就是在牛丸也把钱，忙是牛丸讲想多些，咱们可以弄种牛丸种有了，但咱们看着钱那这就是。我得说，我得弄这嘛出过来是，嘛出现，但是让他弄做网对出去是吧？网对对，可是那个说的弄什么的弄的不那么什么的假期的呢？我说的可是真的能多么出，在其中说这是，我听的。 我的呢，他的要么是长岛是吧？写出来的是长岛对吧？长岛和其用嘛的是那就行了。我的呢，那会他的对我说，强制这个话，那边强制这个话，我在这里真的去弄我嘛出来的，去弄这，我去弄我嘛出来，是要么是怕写当时的。
So, umala jukare.
我嘛去这那往对这。
Okay. So umala jukbaki korla kayang sungyo marwa.
他弄往对这，要是我嘛这趟节目我嘛去学啥了，咱们上头我嘛去过嘛哇的。这是把弄怎么做的偏学啥了？弄就把捏出来。我这期我这可来的，有人不空松做嘛最出过吧？我这期真的他给我呀长波期给谁打的上那个。 给谁打的上，这甭管过说的，讲是甭管的路说的些了，这有了。
So calls当
甭管的是把讲来吃，我这那甭管把讲来吃，我这吃下了这可是呢，这个三龙都嘛出来，三龙是吧？三龙是往啥个龙？就往俺城去啥有了啥？다다 데 공원은 요모 시당 시키레서 라송 시당.
So the 당보 yang re디 pena 중화레라 거기요. 이냥 당보 pena 토르살 기로.
당보든 소신정 나면 시다 신바중 요롱가 보세요 말에.
Okay. 안되니.
되네 당보 니바데 시당 당보 창도 시키라 요모 니바데 시당 시키라.
시당 오베 the lakba 시당.
시당 봐 시도 그래서.
되네.
손바데 데모.我自己，我在这边说，我实际上这边弄从过来这个咯，这边一张工的不咯，我在梅龙说，往对是不是梅龙，没去弄是吧？ 녀모한테 가서나 도착 시도 그래서 어든 메이서 나세 돼야지 요라 메이서 나 세가 돼야다 어든에 제 열칸자야지 요라 제 열칸자야 손에 진짜 교사를 어세다 롱 소마스야 팽게레스 어든 녀모 가자 시도 그래서 어든 뉴트네 와다 디 롱 스케치 모레스 루니 스케치 모레스 어든에 같은 류长的炸长是炸长的它 same 那类样个是
lưu trong đó sa trong
炸长的龙长不的那个是龙长真的 same 那个这片个是送人是吧我听驴在地上驴你开清不有的送人你那当然装至少7、8节有平常可行几种其他家头去嘛的这是可能几种家后边路送中的人去的你嘛后边都是穷讲几种家头是吧
Rebe. Oh, chirang so chitang den da gong ge we chi cha chang.
那都是几种的这个嘛，其他几种这个的话，那先把这几种这个嘛了，然后我没这几种这有嘛了吧？然后他们不穷这的可能，他们就是要解释的这，但这小对几种这都小就会。
啊喂。
我听着这那空气。
他们den da这个的。哦，要不？
可是。这算是吧？装口左右了。
The parents put them in the lotus posture. No.
Not necessarily.
Just okay, just regular.
这他几种介绍的。
Oh, they start sitting. I got it now. Yeah.
我这晓得，这是空气的有了个，这可以空气上面几种这这是个连的话，这几种都是几种这他们要的，马头呢，这趟几种这呢，这马头呢，他不下岗地当这不下岗地驴给我这驴不长来骑着吧，地当我这样。可是给这那的种多哈，给这那对我们来多，我这种人呢，这在如果长不起嘛，到那开嘛的，所以当然是三的他这种气候啊，还是呢，那啥用呢？这国家出嘛了三，那啥我才三学那个是吧？没可以的，这张给吧，对我们来，真正用多啊。我这种用那时候长不起码到那开要嘛的是，可是那的，那不对我们那的我们家出去嘛哇。我这期真的就当时这轮呢，打不起的钱了，那个当时打不起的钱，我们家出去呢，打不起的钱了，这个也是。我嘛，当就见到，实际在了的，让上街听着我们家不要的是。他实际就有啥话说了，这让上街忙不我们家说的是，这这位听着他啦，这位忙不有的是，这位说，这位他说让上街上苏坡长不去工作都晓得是，可能在联动着去呢，这位他说别等人自己晓得是工作过，六年就不开的呢，这现在让上街他说他把这就蛮做学什么吧，这学没的这位他说实际先办着的是。实际先把那这先把你们俩讲长松set，我长松set就有啥的话，小的时候在六年你这门这起都是六刚不开开刚把牙这这门这他基地有啥的话，小这位的时候长不基地的长松的时候这位连多起呢，长不起的是，小的工作了三年也骗的，我们家也不靠的是，我听着当军的那不算多。
So do you did so long song like top
他多发些当不给接话，啥了工作长不起地的，你马上上街中，他工作长不起地，然后啥现在来嘛？长松子只有囊衣，只有几块，就长不起地呢，得定个自己，定个自己的是，
Hey. Sorry, guys. I don't know. I mean, I've been taking it, so probably shouldn't take too much. Mm. I should let everybody know I'm recovering from a cold, but I'm not contagious at this point, and it's not COVID. I tested, so just. So, the very important in practicing calm abiding is assuming the proper posture. So, there's what is referred to as assuming the proper posture of the body, the abode of establishing the abode of the body, kind of, is what it's referred to as. And and so this is pretty universally the 7-point posture of Vairocana. And Lord Jigten Sumgön explains that each attribute of the posture has special significance and how it affects the body and the mind. So first there is the posture. So the first point of the 7-point posture is the legs being folded in the Vajra position, or crossing the legs. So this is traditionally maybe the full lotus posture, but actually, and it's kind of more commonly just sitting in with your legs crossed, crisscross applesauce, as we say. And this has the benefit of kind of controlling or bringing under control the descending winds, and also the element of space. So with regard to the 5 elements, it brings the winds of the space element. It sort of pacifies them, and also even kind of causes them to gather and become kind of concentrated in the central channel. But they don't fully enter, the winds don't fully enter the central channel. He said right away that's something that happens much later on, after a lot of practice, but it does have this effect of starting to kind of like settle and condense the winds, bringing them, under control and pacifying them. And the benefit of this is because if the winds aren't pacified, then there's a strong connection with winds and the mind, or thoughts. So the thoughts kind of being out of control and all over the place is also connected with the kind of the winds not being brought under control. So as I said, if the winds aren't good, if the winds aren't calmed and sort of pacified or concentrated, the mind is not concentrated. If the mind is not concentrated, then the thoughts there's more proliferation of thoughts or concepts, and so these different aspects of the postures really benefit. Even this shows how the posture itself has this benefit in concentrating the mind, calming and causing the mind to become calm and focused and pacified. And so then the second, and so also this first one in particular pacifies the obstacle of jealousy, the afflictive emotion of jealousy. And then the hands being folded, so the second one is the hands resting in the gesture of meditative equipoise. And this has the effect of pacifying the winds connected with the element of water, and also pacifies in particular the afflictive emotion of anger. And then the 2 points of the spine being straight and the shoulders being kind of brought up and back so that the chest is opened. These two have the benefit of bringing the element of earth under control, or pacifying the element of earth, and also pacifying the affliction of ignorance. And then the point of the chin being sort of tipped slightly downward has the benefit of pacifying the afflictive, or the winds of kind of bringing under control the wind of connected with the element of fire, and also pacifying the affliction of desire. And then the point of looking, the gaze being cast off the tip of the nose downward toward the tip of the nose, and also the tongue resting against the palate of behind the upper teeth. This has the benefit of bringing the element of wind itself under control and pacifying the affliction of pride. And so this posture is really very important. Of course, it may not be possible to incorporate all the elements of the posture. What tends to be most difficult for people is the cross-legged posture. So, that is something that you can become habituated to. Drupal Rinpoche was saying, in their culture, it's very easy because from a very young age, they start sitting in the cross-legged posture, pretty much from the time they can sit up, they're sitting in that posture. And so they really have become very used to it early on. That's like the most common way of sitting. So it's not such a struggle, but he knows that for many people, it can be very difficult. And in that case, if you are like young and capable, you might want to sort of train yourself to be able to sit that way. But if not, if it really is something that's painful or uncomfortable, then you can sit in a chair and you can still maintain the other elements of the posture. Especially very important is the erectness of the spine, the straightness of the back and the spine. But in general, whatever, it's good, it's important to be comfortable, so you can find a position that is comfortable to you, incorporating as many aspects of the posture as you can. And there's actually this story he told about, there was a place in India where many Pratyeka Buddhas, solitary realizers, had practiced in the forest, and they, were many, the Rang Sanjay, Rang Sanjay, and they would sit, completely straight, still, without moving, just uninterruptedly. And the monkeys in the forest started imitating this posture. And so all of the monkeys started sitting really still and straight. And then the monkeys actually went to another part of the forest where there were a lot of sadhus, I think, kind of, or different, would you say sadhus? Or, and they were doing all sorts of different crazy postures, with their feet up and different things, and, different sort of practices. But the monkeys had really trained in just sitting completely straight. And as a result, actually, the monkeys ended up really generating samadhi, and their samadhi was even deeper than the sadhu's samadhi. So that just shows you the benefit of the posture. Right, Vinny?
Seven postures.
Yeah.
Shoulder.
Oh, the elbows.
Not
Oh, not outward. So are you talking about the shoulders or the elbows?
elbow.
The elbows.
It's called Bumba.
Oh, okay. I always think it's the shoulders like this, because they say like a vulture's wings. No? But it is, but it means inward. So actually, the point about the shoulders being up and back is not actually accurate. He said it's that more that the elbows are kind of brought out, so that in this gesture that he just showed, like that.
Or like vulture's wing.
Oh, like vulture wing, like that. I always interpreted the vulture's wings like the shoulders. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. That cleared up a lot.
And
Yeah.
the monkeys influenced those sadhus.
Oh, they influenced the sadhus, and then the sadhus started sitting down. Okay, yes. Pratyeka Buddhas learned from the monkeys. Got it. Okay. Yeah. Mhm. Thank you.
tene tanere no simjian tong de sangje toba jia nyam de zam de rang lu dang la de sewe jiwo lama gom mo hui dong dong qi wo ta changbo de changjiu sem ji go simjian tong sangje simjian tong de xi hu zang jiang ge simji ji zang som de ziwu de wi simji xie ziwu de wi simji xie de ta ziwu de jie ren zhou qiu de zong qiu de lo dong wi nan de zong nian le ya dang ge es ta tangbo simjian tan pi sangje ju de jie ko na sangje ya zam wo zi ji这你把这年把的上级审批是，年把是出同的娘的把同头是吧？我但今天总共看是这审批这年呢，老人打口中的，年把的审批的。今天总共帮那分头是年把的审批的，啊是老人等的口中。让些你可以把上，让些你可以娘的上级呀，让些你出人的娘的把同头是吧？我这期，我这大这里先把这大家我的审批是。这我听那这说这我讲，这先把这大的网子对外国样的，常不说上级，这里身边要上级下过上，我这身体重要的，我这人对咱说讲究什么，开钱包的，在讲究什么，还得讲究什么，讲究一看这边年头长把看就是，这有的多对怕是别些钱多，我这讲究什么的呢？上级就嘛的意思，上级对面这年头让上级提用个嘛的意思。我这种人错题做些嘛的，昨天的强调什么是开进步的重要是吧？我这长不能强调什么的起，
这里张些面呢，真的上届
中嘛的，这里呢零年让到3年有嘛的是，年头的让上届拉说的，这是用个嘛的是，我这没见，我的样的给，但我都来通报成这样有嘛的，是这个年头长跑看了就算是吧。ja, da sånn tid så ikke mer snakker. Og det med sanji park og sånn så ja, det langt år til jeg var ikke mer sanji mina. Og det sånn det du kanskje sem til ikke på chi. Og det kanskje sem til ikke på chi sånn det du i dem har goms, det var la madom, så det du i dem så i dem kare i natt gom går det. 今天总共一档的。소소 예담 오는 예담리스 미나 제란세 공는 저게 정원은 지금 정 소소 제란세 공스 어다 다 제란세 공나 사카르 공나 소소도 바로 예담 사 제와라스 어다 지보르 라마스 지보르세 라마 공해 뭐 후동동 지다 지보르 소소 잡에 라마스 도진 창크나 바체네 뭐 후치네 나 차서 좀 도파 지보르 지비 진지로 세다야 뭐람 조르반 대부 그래 我这今年毛会东东企业是内巴掌，内毛王他他那个多话这样一来没几把那是话但内的毛王他这多话题看来怎么毛不当个嘛的是。
So in the text, it starts off by saying, sit correctly with the body posture in accordance with the crucial instructions regarding the body. Think I will obtain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. So that is establishing the 7-point posture, as was mentioned, and then generating bodhicitta, thinking I will attain the state of Buddhahood for the sake of all beings. So there are the 3 levels of bodhicitta, the different types. So there's the shepherd-like bodhicitta, which is like, the example is that of a shepherd who follows behind his flock and ushers his flock ahead of him. So that type of bodhicitta is the aspiration that puts the awakening of others of greater importance than, or regards the awakening of others with greater importance than one's own awakening. So the idea is that, like, I will attain enlightenment last. May all sentient beings attain the state of enlightenment first. May they go first. And then the bodhicitta that is like a captain, the captain-like bodhicitta, is the aspiration or the to attain Buddhahood together with all beings. So it's like the example of a captain who is on a ship together with a lot of other people aboard, and they all reach their destination together. And Lord Jigten Sumgun actually emphasizes this type of bodhicitta, the captain-like bodhicitta, in his kabum. And then there is the king-like bodhicitta, which is sort of like the example of the king, like that the king kind of, this type of bodhicitta is kind of focused on, one's own awakening first, so that then one can help to bring all others to the state of awakening. So that is, the idea of like going out first and attaining awakening and then bringing all others behind you. And so, as is said in the compendium of sutras, right? Is that how Dodupa? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Dodupa. I'm just wondering what they usually, yeah. Dodupa. Yeah, I think the
Nothing
Duba, yeah.
condensation or distillation of sutra.
Oh, right. Okay. So then this, it is said that if there's no bodhicitta, there are no Buddhas. There's no appearing of Buddhas, because bodhicitta is the necessary cause, the necessary condition for full awakening or Buddhahood. And if there are no Buddhas, there's no one to show what should be adopted and what to adopt and what to discard. So there are no Shravakas or Pratyeka Buddhas, and there is no way means to accumulate merit. And so therefore, like, this just shows the preciousness, the importance of bodhicitta, developing bodhicitta. It really is the source of Buddhahood. And so then in the text it says, practice so that your guru remains on the crown of your body, that is visible as the tantric deity. So you are visualizing yourself in the form of the deity with your guru at your crown. And so any yidam deity that you practice, whatever the yidam deity is, you can visualize yourself in that form. And if you don't have like any particular yidam deity, Lord Jigten Sumgun says, you can never go wrong with Chenrezig. So you can meditate on yourself in the form of Avalokiteshvara or Chenrezig, and meditate on your guru at your crown in the form of Vajradhara. And so then reciting some prayers of aspiration, and also supplicate, and then, as it says, produce a heartfelt devotion, fix your gaze on something endowed with characteristics such as a twig or a pebble in front of you, and then without allowing any mental activities regarding the past, future, or present, without getting caught up in these mental activities regarding the past, present, and future, and just focus your mind, concentrate or rest your mind on the object. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, then the Gumiarwa, do the Xingwu and Dibulas or Semizela, Datan Shivatis, or that do the Jitantina, the Shine Gumiatala, Tamadani Shakre, Denjiarwa, Denjian, but Denjian Taba, the Madat and Shandua. The Madaba, that's the Shangdong, Divindong, the Shandifuris, Sem Banzisant, the Simzis, the answer, was a Mada Shine. The Mada Shine said, Uncle, it's a zone. Shane don't do so you know, compete on bed, competing boy, race Koran. Digan son Samsona, Tambo like a stigan, Samtigent, competed then, or tell Lavoy, as on what they do, and do it under Shane don't carry on at the letter. Some no din, Terra Latina, like some machine by Shira Matas in Terra, that my name bachina, what's in it? Tagum Japor is what a song. Not this comes out.
Okay. So first, as it says, using, placing your gaze, resting your gaze on on like a piece of stick or a pebble in front of you. And this is so the first method for cultivating calm abiding. So there's basically when employing a support that's an actual object, there is what is referred to as like an impure support and a pure support. So the impure support would be like a pebble or a stick. But in the beginning, actually, it is often said that this is much easier because we're very used to objects like sticks and stones. So resting our gaze on something very simple like that, like the object of a pebble, the object of a stick, is much easier in the beginning, and then you kind of develop the habituation for the mind to rest using a simple object like that. Actually, probably better than pure and impure would be to translate this as simple and more complex. Which I think, even though what is also meant is that when you're using a holy object, it's like actually also a pure object, there's that added benefit. But that isn't to say that there's not great benefit in using a pebble or a stick. So, because that's what he was saying. So I just wanted to emphasize that, because often we think, oh, impure, well, I don't want to use impure, right? But that's not what's implied in the Tibetan. So, the pebble or the stick is easier in the beginning, and you just rest your gaze there together with your attention, without thinking, allowing the mind to get caught up in thoughts, without going to other things. You stay with the object in front of you without becoming distracted. So with that, we will actually do a little bit of meditation.
tene da shene ti tada tabi shene sena den sanje gu dong sha. De sanje gu na sanje gu sha. De sanje gu mina so so ndu ba te ka nda na te ka nda sanje gu smi ka chi ne. Da tene tabi shene se te gu wa. Wa da sanje gu ta wa de sanje se gu na sanje so so ju la. Ha cha sanje gu gu ya ha cha sha ge. Li ba zu pa ta zu ge ti wa cha. Wa de sanje so ha cha sha. 되게 상직국 공원에 가라 당시 소소소 투카더라 너무 섬는 파티 샘데라 신한테 쇼리 투카 샘데라 투게 상직 투카요라 투카 샘데라지 한지 뭐情况 효침보 요래제요나情况데 시야노 민섬 상직 민섬정 샘디 되는 뭐 초고서 효침보 요나제 상지 쇼크다 배마这说什么现在的上级国几个有办弄好成这去呢就说的是好像当个呗好像当个呗
So, so that is then using the sort of the simple support, and then there is the method of using a pure support. So a pure support would be using like a statue of a Buddha, for instance, and if you don't have a statue available to you, you can also actually just visualize the Buddha in your mind's eye. And the benefit of using a sacred image or statue as your object of support is that it places a positive karmic imprint, virtuous karmic imprint in your mind stream, like gazing at the Buddha, then it creates a karmic imprint. And then normally, like if you're actually looking at the statue, you might rest your gaze at the heart level of the Buddha, of the statue. But then it's also said that if there is a lot of sort of sinking or kind of torpor, then it is good to maybe raise the gaze to the point between the eyebrows and rest the gaze there. Or if there is a lot of agitation, a lot of like agitation, excitement, a lot of discursive proliferation, then it's better to look maybe at the folded legs or the lotus seat, like the cushion in the lotus seat, sort of something that feels sort of a heavy, like to bring the mind down a bit, the activity of the mind down. So then we can meditate again for 7 minutes or so, visualizing the form of the Buddha in your mind's eye. What? Visualizing, yeah. Or if you want to look up, you can look at one of the images on the tankas or the statues.
벌써 이제 있다. 벌써 이제 있다. 그래. 같이 나온 거. 그러면 이제.
Take a 20-minute break.
나가는 말씀.
공지만.
那小三现在就叫那个来一个公干的那个，他做的总说，一般老公都是，他就是不满足的老公，我老公说的，现在就那么就我他不多，
Zamala.
Exactly. That's what I said.
But I think this is smart here.
그래. 좋아.
So I would like to make an announcement for everybody. We actually have the text available if anyone would like to purchase a copy for $15 a piece. And also for the people on Zoom, if you would like to purchase a copy plus $5 shipping and handling, we can mail it to you wherever you are. So you can email Melanie or Damien at drongorevents@gmail.com if you would like to purchase a copy, or you can speak to them in person.
So those taxes are not really always not print. So this is a reprint, I think 7 years ago. Yeah, I was
On Zoom can't hear you without a microphone.
yeah. So that's no, that's
Zoom la kogamarwa. Zoom la. Okay.
Okay, so this yeah, we sometimes we think this print all the time, maybe just buy. This copy I was the Druga International I reprint. So that's it. So there's no more.
So it is a rare find. It's
but
now
maybe
or
I
never.
don't know, some print again, so then I don't know. But this style is no more at all.
It's actually very difficult.
我这听见嘛，多。
Barton on Amazon, the Barton Institute only has a
No.
couple copies. So
Think
Because we print and to hold together, he took some and maybe or now it's maybe finished. So we have that. So that's it, I think.
这天我前去错了，这引起嘛到节约嘛是吧？那节约了这天。
So there are some versions that only have English and Tibetan, and then there's some other versions that have also have the Chinese. I don't know if that
The Chinese,
applies
no?
for anybody.
Yeah,
This one has the Chinese, the one with the picture of holiness on the front.
我这节目中把小样给嘛
I don't
工
think we
作
have it.
工作把注意这节目中搞出哪了？这节目中这个把啥很多。
So this is an image from that was taken when His Holiness was giving teachings on this text.
啊，真的他那个种准备他那嘛人着。哦，真的他这说写把这说满眼把起过的，是我说满眼把写了吧？全把满眼把起过，但人说那光标嘛了不？满眼那的光是相内的嘞，让我查的满眼把起，现在给这满眼把起，下是啷多的啷的，现在给这的满眼把下是，我们上街去家是，他我们上街去是那这样子的，上街先上不怕切过的是。 原来我们要我家，这里现在我们平常家出去，但没得那没说的下，这刚我们家都是收过就收的，那么就说呢，这我们我家上不抢嘛是吧？上不没家的把没说下呢，上街抢嘛是吧？对的，这现在这是没说家些家起过的是，那多了也看也了，就是那多了也，那有人不呢，但那这些，这样做地上就是没说家过的是。 我这种多，我真的这当然俺是光是在俺是这种光过的是，推穷了长嘛嘛，前线推起光是推穷长嘛是推说光过的是，推说人不在来长不完，俺说推说人不在光现在我那嘛头，这在地当偏头些啥要嘛的是，我真的推，这样在南头嘛往出的些啥光推没到，咱行第一是没说假，俺讲在这边说光推个的是。 没啥这边这种了，现在进步工作穷样我们是穷样我们从让这里推穷长嘛这些意思，推些的我们是推完了，你自己推为满意吧其实，他推快点这种了，这人送的这个嘛是嘛不原因的呢？这推起来，你发现他通推嘛的是，可是推完这种这，刚出说满意吧其实是推完了呢，推几波没吧？推上这里起码咱我们要我讲推上1把没吧是，这光个。 错更多，我这样推完了，然后你自己推完满意吧，依然没几把是。
Got it?
Chuba to the Nizi Chuba in the Landwater, Nizi Chuba. A Mayingba, Yilamiji, so what I Mayingba Chene, then Nizi Zijo Manes, Chemba Dores, Chemba, this what is. How come?
The needing it through one paper.
Sitting on the page and on the
Oh, okay. So now I keep like, actually, James also mentioned this. It's difficult because like one translation has aspects that seem better, and then the other one has aspects that seem better. So I'm a little bit indecisive.
Chuba Rimado.
Chiba Remendua.
Oh,
Hani kashe yang dela norio sare, kashe yang dela norio sare.
Kimbo de Mejo. Kema. Tene, that's it. 2 hours, Nizi can chew a mining, but she ila meji, but Chemba has Chemba that is Chemba the show check or reason for it. Chemba the Minate, one jas of Mara. And Jidan was on Chantan shaking the to be chosen Zawines.
Wait,
Chemba the shaking, the to be chosen Zawines. Chantan shaking, the to be chosen Zawines.
two bechugito.
Or Sanji choke Zawad, 2 hours and Sanjira,
Yere.
or the choke Zawines. Somewhat thing to chamber this kitchen but chatters. Now, this is made not say like Tesoro Davandos, or made not say the Kaleka and Rogos, make Parka Surka Mobo then, Ramadan Tontre, for a younger semi person Mota Yamars, that's so do the other than Rodriguez. Rondo Tamji, so Jolan Tamji, colleges, Rondo Jolan Tamji, Ruben Robana, Pecha Ruben Rodo Ruby. Then you Calitan Rogers. Colematic. Joe Chon to Lucidon, the same angels. Jonan some Theogors, one is in Theochi. The Chinadan, this same sort, not near to their fingers. The man say part the Joe saw the Jucation, the Juke this is on down this. Sent the angels. The take on that is all my energy. What is on law? Tell by that on Simsy to my requiring answer many. What the Jews that's doing this, you know, you his own. That's a country in that sort. Then the same nonsense they have in Tam that's watching. That's the same nonsense they had. Money was the best one she got is on the.
What is
That moment I want you that they can do the end thing.
No, yeah. So essentially, when practicing in action, I just want to find where we are in the text because so as it says then, so you're concentrating your mind, resting your mind, practice remaining in that state without allowing your mind to be distracted by something else, and disengage while your concentration is still stable. Discontinue the concentration on the object and rest for a while and practice again as before. Make efforts like that for brief periods, but very frequently, and practice in 4 sessions. The main thing is to use the object in such a way that you're sustaining mindful awareness. You're not becoming distracted. If there's distraction, there is no meditation. So that really is what meditation is sustaining undistracted awareness. And so it says you want to sustain this awareness without becoming distracted for even a moment. And then it also says, so again, but then to disengage from the object from time to time. So meaning that if you, okay, so if you are not distracted, so it's essentially really establishing the point that the meditation is sustaining non-distraction. But in that case, it's necessary sometimes to disengage from the object and then re-engage, sort of like making sure to not over-focus or over-effort, and to also just rest. Then the meditation becomes really good quality meditation when you take care like that. So especially in the beginning, it's always said that it's important to meditate kind of in shorter spurts, like for shorter periods, but frequently. So that could mean like, engaging the meditation so that you're resting on the object for time and then disengaging, then re-engaging, but like making sure to keep that the point is to keep the purity, the continuity of awareness so that you're pulling back from distraction. And so actually in the beginning, it's often said that it's not beneficial to meditate for a long time, because if you meditate for a long time and then you just fall into a state of distraction, then that's not really meditation. There's not really any real benefit there. So it's much better to ensure that your meditation is really of a good quality. So in the beginning, or for somebody who is new, also Milarepa says that you should, meditate in small moments, small periods, but frequently. And then also it's important to sustain the meditation, meaning sustaining non-distraction, like practicing mindfulness in the post-meditation. So that means in post-meditation, bringing that intention of practice into your activities so that to whatever extent that you remain free from distraction. You're bringing your mind back to present awareness again and again. And eventually it becomes so developed that you actually experience no difference between meditation and post-meditation. And then as it says, I don't know, I think I'm in a different spot. Oh, okay, yeah, all right, okay. So make efforts like this for brief periods, but very frequently, and practice in 4 sessions. Try to establish also, during the whole period between sessions, vivid awareness free from mental activity without allowing your thoughts to wander toward dualistic confusion. The eyes gaze down a straight line along the tip of the nose. Behave in a slow manner during all kinds of conduct, such as walking and sitting too. So this is also this practice of going very... So he said, not... before I get there. He also said, so really the importance here, the point is mindfulness, mindful awareness. So Lord Jigten Sumgön has said that mindfulness and awareness is really the root of the Buddha's teachings. So it's very important that we understand that this is really the whole point of meditation. And so the instruction for post-meditation here is to keep the eyes cast downwards, to move very slowly, because if the eyes are kind of darting around everywhere, this just stirs up distraction, it stirs up concepts, it stirs up thoughts. So in between sessions, also moving very slowly. In fact, it is often said, he said to move like a turtle, like that slowly, so that because there's the benefit when you're building mindful awareness, to not move too quickly, because when your body is moving quickly, this also stirs up concepts, and so sort of darting around and going here and there, it feeds the mind of distraction. So to be really conscious deliberate and slow in your actions, so in that way you can make effort. So it says, through much gazing and holding the mind, Adjust yourself, this is a quote from Tilopa, through much gazing and holding the mind, adjust yourself until you remain in a state of awareness.
드네 다다 가서 쩌주나 더 송여와 전시에서 개침보레스 저 전시에 개침보레스나 드네 송도와 가리송으로서는 세기미비 샘된바 세기미비 샘당 대야되시나 토장 삼탕 공바양 토바의 삼바 공바요라 그래서 로돌 혼바 추신 전바라양 세면에서 로돌 혼바는 혼바제나 혼바 양회도나 추카지도나 내가 말와 로돌 혼바 추신도 전바라양 세면에서 전바 내가 말했어 어떻게 되나 이래서 어떻게 되나서 가리나 토상 공성 가시나 전시에서 개침보지 몸잖아 배 전바한테 용나데 공자서 그래 어째서 메는 이 공자서 해서 말와
I'm wondering if we can close the windows and turn on the AC because I'm wondering if the smoke is bothering me. There's some smoke, right, coming from. Anyway, no, I don't know. So in the Bodhicharya Avatara, it says things. Okay, thank you. In the Bodhicharya Avatar, it says, if there's no without mindful awareness, then the activities of study, contemplation, and meditation, it become sort of, there's no real retention there. It becomes like a vase with a crack in it, that whatever goes inside just leaks out. And so one won't be able to develop any real stability in these activities. So it is really important in all activities of study, contemplation, and meditation to cultivate mindful awareness. And especially with meditation, if there is no meditation without mindfulness. So mindfulness and meditation are really one and the same. It's necessary to have mindful awareness.
Mema kadam ki sheje yorse kuma ben kunjar ben kunjar la shosarwa ku thombo kuma dang me dugya jing ma da le so chu da si nyam la chi se ya da ku ni ma zai ma chang zai na song sarwa ni ma chang zai ku na te ban da de xie shosare ya ni ma zai ma chang zai na song du ku ta ma chang zai ma zai chi lo la da nga zong zhuo hua de wa罗汉萨罗晓得什么叫做大个，听着萨罗，可能就不难的有萨罗，他恰就开个头上，恰路上空嘛就有罗，听那老汉的家了才过，可能恰参观那恰没上，恰就空嘛家不上萨罗过，这接对这个呈现弄来萨罗，这个恰是空嘛的路去，空嘛这样都是给家了，空嘛两都是，空嘛两都是这。这没上嘛，这哪下来了？干嘛看了的？也他国家都是，我都当成就老师，可能国家都是的。但你嘛这样个，但做饭吃饭忙不有办的，做饭说的啥了？这今大在学等于几个啥了？学问几个啥了？下学问几个对的，这个就是学也不呢，他平头我那也不叫土生嘛的上啥，可能学也啥，学也不有啥，也车多是的，但吃饭忙不有了。车多是说了学也不特啥的，他可能我啥来不学也不叫特啥嘛的上啥的。这个呈现东西来是吧？他俺那这个普罗嘛看不，这里学农业的，咱俺学么个生意，啥他人通啥意思？他人通啥意思的？老的是，他个呈现是了，他说要不么都上工农业把的上。你嘛这个可能参考那的，可能今大开心不是了学些。晓得，可能参考那的有啥了？可能今大的是了学啥了？这那是张马的说过，张马的朝向的这张马的这说，确保不的。这可能古龙说大西去的哦，但今天手机，要不们都上确保这个天把那个多，可能的是的。我大概是呈现。了对的，但是知道可能俺们都家的了，像咱们先讲那学啥了，晓得？我呈现在的时候呢，先举头呀。
So bin
ben kunjar
kung
kunjar
gongja gongja.
rak pagal jal jar
So there are many stories, very lovely stories about this monk named Bin Gongjal, who had been, before he was actually a thief, before he became ordained, and or before he became was he a monk or yeah?
så var så ge sin sen
Yeah, okay. And so then he, there were all these these stories that exemplify his dedication to practicing mindfulness. So, for instance, one day he was at the home, like visiting a family in their home, and they were, because this was in a nomad area, often the family was outside because of all of their activities outside, like tending to the animals and such. And so there was a moment where he was alone inside the house, and they had some really nice tea in a tea jar. So he stuck his hand. He didn't have any tea. So he stuck his hand in the tea, and then mindfulness came. And so he shouted, "There's a thief, there's a thief." And so then the people came running inside, and they were like, "Where's the thief?" And he was referring to himself because he caught himself about to steal the tea. So this is an example of mindfulness. And then there was another time where there was a benefactor had offered some really,
chawa mambo yusarwa chawa mambo yusarwa
so in a big assembly with many monks present, there was a benefactor who was offering rice and yogurt. Yogurt. Oh, okay, yogurt. And the top of the yogurt is kind of the best part because it's the creamy sort of, thicker part. And so he had this thought like, ooh, I'm sitting in I'm going to get the best part of the yogurt. I want to get the best part of the yogurt.
So the top line you get, but he thought I don't get.
Oh, okay. Oh, he was worried. He was worried. Sorry. So he was worried that he wasn't going to get the best part of the yogurt. And so, but then when he caught himself worrying or having that attachment, then he just turned his bowl over. So when they came to him, he said, "Nope, I already ate. I already had my yogurt." So this was right. Yeah, this was another example of practicing mindful awareness. And so then another story is that, which you all have heard this one, I think. He was in retreat, but he had a benefactor. And the benefactor would come visit on occasion. So the benefactor, he knew the benefactor was coming, and he arranged really beautiful. He cleaned everything, and he made the shrine really beautiful. But then he recognized what his motivation was, which was to impress his benefactor. So he saw that it wasn't actually a pure motivation. It was based on the 8 worldly concerns. And so he took a handful of ash, that was from the fire, the stove, where they have fire for the tea. So he took a handful of the ash, and then he scattered it on the shrine. He threw it onto the shrine because of recognizing the impurity of his motivation. So in developing mindful awareness, then like the example of this practitioner, it's like, oh, the sudden recognition of having negative thoughts, having misdirected thoughts, is sudden recognition of the defilements. So
Yama the cook tea para condor, tea chobala. The picture choji, Patama Sanjay, six soon is choji, Patama Sanjay, sorry. Hook chobana, Yahute, Hook chobina, Yahute, cook tea para condor.
Yeah. And so with regard to the story, and then he also said, Yeah, he also, sorry, made the point that also with this particular example, because he had been a thief, then he had had this habit of kind of having these negative or these sort of intentions come up. So that was like with the tea, and then actually also there was he believes it was Parampa Sanjay who said in all of Tibet, of all of the offerings, that have ever been offered, the best offering was the offering of
Ben Kunjal.
ash, bin Kongjel's offering of ash, throwing ashes onto the handful. That was his handful of ash, right?
我在过这趟的我做晨曦的时候，在变的下头气的，这啥的变空间的下多啥子，先把细菌的说跟说来不呀
Was okay.
晨曦的是在晨曦他们在开始过的陆军的变的下啥子嘛嘞
Okay.
For example.
Yeah.
变空间下多。
So Bing Kunjal is often, his stories are often used as the stories to demonstrate how to practice mindful awareness.
咱这里三个字嘛，从这咱点米是吧？现在点米了，你吃了多大？这趟点米现在了，点米在哪？开始他这些，咱农田现在农民现你晓得的。那里这是那咱现在农田现在的农民现你去。这农田现在咱农子下的农这趟是咱多巧啊！说农这现在咱咱们的农那趟我就有啥的，等于呢他。 这趟去那个说，咱都叫上街很多，说开些那城里多啊，弄盘着能着哇哈过哇，所用所哈过哇，看着去那城里哈过的，城里在了，他说什么？几讲了，买套买烟吧去，别讲着都叫那看里那，几讲了，什么当中着要见多，上街，别想着是东把的群出熊，东把群出呀的，什么啦，当天面把先把先买烟吧去。 我做的弄那弄盘着，说着城里什么当中去，或者。 我盘着穿着呀，这什么当呀？我这都这种那真最多啊！我这做工资自己来了，我说别家空白家说呢，空白刚把看着，刚来刚把才是把家说家这蛮硬的了，这边呢现在皮上蛮硬的，我真最做前面那头去，然后俺这弄钱的，这那的我就我怎么当了，俺真就有了哇，我真的是去那是。
So then we have, so we have gone then through the methods of using a support. And then there's a calm abiding without support. And then we have here are the two sections that come, but actually often sometimes there's also the added categories of meditating using the breath and meditating without the breath, or without using the object of the breath. So using the breath means, and there are many different ways to do this, and there are sometimes different explanations, like maybe employing, for instance, the Vajra recitation, but mainly it is as like the Buddha taught in many sutras how to practice using the breath as an object, meaning when he says, so when you breathe out, when breathing out, know that you are breathing out, or when exhaling, know that you are exhaling, when inhaling, know that you are inhaling. And so this is really employing just this attention to the process of breathing, so that your mind is simply resting with attention on the breath without becoming distracted, by anything else, just resting with the breath. This is done in meditation, just being aware of the breathing process, and also in like activity, in one's path of conduct or activity, also continually bringing the attention to the breath, and also bringing attention to whatever it is that one is doing. So for instance, when washing your face, simply washing your face, knowing that you're washing your face without being there present with the experience of just simply washing the face. Or when walking, without thinking of other things, bringing attention to the feet, being aware of, lifting the foot and moving the foot and placing the foot on the earth. So there's, this awareness of just moving, walking, the sensation of the feet as you walk, being aware of what the feet are doing, being aware of what is happening in the present moment without distraction, instead of how we normally are, which is caught up in other thoughts. And so now we can meditate. So this time you can meditate using the breath as an object.
我他那里马地说从那啥他的，呢，嘛在农田的，这当农行都人地吧，没有了，你那他马地说，这农田像农民设计有了，他农民地，然后请这个啥的去去把这当人把土把你多，那多人土你，所以我听你人土你这，好嘞。我们记，所以我的真路你有了吧？真路你不在我们家我就提的，原来开钱不用啥的，可是呢，可是他这样做，那套马步的在，超过马步有了吧？提刚出来那去，真的可是在那钱目收钱不有了吧？钱万的目标收钱不对的，那这样把收钱是挺有钱的。要学啥的，这些呢？这趟钱呢，在我们家我就，他可以挺重要的啊。他而且我们说在家来趟不家伙呢，他我们就是而且俺来有什么的人呢？我们家的那俺来有什么的人，先别那么多毛毛虫，不要的。但我那些那么多这些牛有的是，第啥回事是那么多我们同学的是，这么多你对这个那么多家人可是可能哈可能去多可能有么的事。提刚子那么多的从我同对的，那么多忙从有嘛的事情呢？他所做的从我同的，你对哈可有么来呀？那么多忙着的，挺多的是，我这种嘛的是，我这是我们家特别大的是，我这种的这样的，我这是去。
So then there's also in the category of using the breath, there's also, so in the category of using the breath as an object, there's also the method of the Vajra recitation, using the Vajra recitation, but we won't do that now. We won't get into that, but go to the next section, which is without support or without attributes, which employs the methods of tightening and loosening. And so these two methods are really important because they counteract different sort of faults that arise in meditation, kind of the two ends of the pendulum, which are either sloth and torpor, or sort of excitation and sort of really kind of an increase of energy and also maybe mental proliferation with that. So often, dini diki di chingmu la drimba shukche ki korla kare la.
这青木手青木，刚才说看七八月了吧？
Kam dripper.
这青木手切我呢，人把的手切是，可以超过手切我呢，头把的是。
Oh yeah. So the difference really has to do often, it depends, but there sometimes depending on the constitution of the meditator, one might have a propensity more for one of these faults than the other. So there might be some who have more sort of agitation and discursiveness, and then others who tend more towards like sleepiness or sloth and torpor. So if there is a lot of agitation and discursiveness, then you really want to employ the method of relaxing, so loosening. If there is a lot of sloth and torpor or sleepiness, you want to employ the method of tightening. Also, it should be said that as you start to meditate, often it seems like there's an increase of discursiveness, that there's more concepts, more proliferation of thought. And some people will even get really discouraged and say, I don't think I have the karma to meditate. So this is not the case. It's actually that when we're not looking at our minds, we don't realize how much mental proliferation there is. So when you really start to look at the mind, you see how much mental proliferation there is. So it's not actually a fault that you have a lot of thoughts arising, because you're recognizing that you have a lot of thoughts arising. So actually, rather than resisting the thoughts, you can look at the essence of see the empty essence of the thoughts. It isn't actually that they've increased, it's just that you're now really noticing how much proliferation is actually there. So rather than seeing that as a fault, it's actually a sign that you can meditate somewhat, that you're actually having this is actually a sign of progress in meditation.
다들이 말로 되는 사선도 중국 다상 아상자 상예만한 시코레스 셰바 중지 잼 나체 세소로 남가라데나 셰바게 이제 많이 제제도 샤네 미관 세마 검주는 뒤자미 스타트 지당 스타셈 라마 샤한테 미미 들어와 대야메 바로 되는 검주가 말했어 어tendu 검주는 제장메스 양스키 제메스다 검도주도 믹스에서 요 말테니나 yang song de choma gom ji me se yang di na de choma le o yang mai na da ko te sem so ne do ne to ya pen to sa ba ni te yang song da sem ne ge ma le to gom ji me se yi la me ji chao zhe qian bo yin da yi la me ji chao zhe qian bo se te yang zhe ne ga jie yu sa da yi la me ji ka ye ten zhe do da yi la me ji chao zhe qian bo yin zang te ga ti di na le lo xiu qi me zhe gom ji ha tu ma le zhe xiu chao zhe qian bo da yi la me ji zhe zang na te ma yin ba qi go da是吧 어쨌든 금지 두자미 바라스 먹음스 어디다 금지 두자미 바 먹음스 금이 통당 재미 금지 좋아서 왔다 너네 데려놓아 금지 두자미 바 먹음스 다 금도 믹스해서 이제 배송치도 믹스 칼라든 세마나 금도야 수요 말에 세마 요조지 이나 금지 통미나 재미 금배 좋아서 재미세나 전바다 많이 봐 가디나 다 장고 쇼래 제 금들이 금들 재미 건지 좋았을 때 제마선한테 건나 좋았을 말이스. 와. 제송스 송베스.
So I think I'm going to go back now to the other one. So as it says, then maintaining the body posture and gaze as before, with your mind slightly focused, look into space at the level of the tip of your nose and set your attention there one-pointedly without even a moment of distraction. While there is nothing visual or characteristic to meditate upon, do not allow even a moment of distraction. So here, allowing the mind to naturally settle without having any specific object that you're using as a focus for your meditation, but still sustaining mindful awareness. So it's like the object becomes the non-distraction itself. But if you become distracted, even though there's no object, if you're just kind of sitting there and you become distracted and you kind of get lost in thoughts, that's not okay. Then that means your mind is not adequately concentrated. Your mind is not able to abide. It's not able to rest. So you need to establish the abiding of the mind, the stillness of the mind together with that mindful awareness. So there is awareness and there is still abiding, or the abiding. Yi la michi, gare.
Yi la michi santa so ze yi gum do go ya syo mare smixi ze gum.
It's really strange. Yi la michi.
Don't bring anything into your mind.
Okay, yes. Don't bring anything into your mind. So sometimes there's kind of this attitude of like, oh, I'm not bringing anything into my mind. I'm not meditating on anything whatsoever. And then it becomes this permission to sort of be a little bit lazy or complacent. And that is not the real meditation. If there is distraction, then there's no meditation. So they're really, with this level of meditation, you should be able, the mind should be focused, and there should be awareness and non-distraction, and not becoming distracted for even a moment, really is sustaining the continuity of awareness. Yeah. So there's nothing whatsoever to meditate upon, but one is still fully concentrated and focused in full presence of awareness without becoming distracted.
대 해종 스타들이 마트종도 투총 대들은도 투총 지현 이라 공스 투와 조랑 탐징아 땅이 많아. 조랑도 태워 진다 첨바만이 와지고 저 첨바들이 지라스 내 정보 완들이 지도도 남포 마튼 초바신 잡아 몬스 들었음 네 중지 네베 다인스 네바 메베 콘도 남포 지지 뭐 마진 para jayan tu khorba yinbi jijang nampo na song cho na topa kanju te ngo simba chines sem ma yinba jingju ni ju ngo song la jayan tu ma khorba jisi ngo song o ta te sem ti nampo song ngo sing go res zun ju hong da ha ko go res na a zai ka yin yang chen ju yong duo nampo so changga jia yan zhong changga nampo zai ni zhe zong da zai yong ji ri zang ma te ri zong da dang de ri ke ma de nampo so xue ri ku na ku na nampo ta tang bo ji le song zang da ju si ngo song se ro ha nampo tang bo ji le song zang da ji zai yong ri zang de ri ji ni na de ri ke ma le da de ngo xin zang xi go xue ma zai jing ji ni ngo xin zang xi go xue ma zai a te zai de song ni le song te ta ji le yong ri zang de ri ji na nampo ma ro ke ma wa te ji ge ma ji dang ngo xin zang xi is jing ji ni ngo xin ba de qian xian ma yin ba jing ji ni ngo song la jian yan ma jian yan ma xiao san他全把这南岛的网出嘛学吧，西过学的。他南岛的网学说呢，这个原因今年今天把他人的人南方咱们那出今年我这一天出了个话讲样子学。这讲样嘛学，所以讲南岛可能我心里呢，他呢我心里呢全把蛮原因呢，这南岛可能去这起做个嘛嘞，南岛那个话他我从就话题ser话他就话题。le ka shira chi thuk mare sko ngo sin di ti je ndang ma sona sem ne di na ti koran so gom ja so ti nam to koran le ka shira chi thuk mare no koran ti ngo sin di na ngo sin sona chen ki na ne di na koran to ti chu na de koran gom ga se kin so le ong re gom ga wa jian yan to ma shor wan ju si ngo song las yang jung zi nge so xian sta jung zi nge so go res 대다르 공배 똑바니 인지 대한테 마소 똑바니 스미 대한테 마소 동미 해내 혀 남도 샘 지세 대한테 같이 손 지켜 말했어 다 샘지 대한테 마 동미 해내 샤고 송도
So it says in the text, it is said, in Mahamudra, not being an object of the mind, do not meditate, as there is nothing to meditate upon, not even as tiny as an atom. I'm sorry, he said this actually before, but parting not from the point of non-meditation is the supreme meditation. As thus, as it is said, meditate in short sessions, carry on all activities between the sessions, also with constant mindfulness as before. In doing so for beginners, thoughts will seem to proliferate extensively. This indicates a small degree of mental stability. Okay. This indicates a small degree of mental stability. Before you have mental stability, all thoughts that arise remain scattered and unrecognized. Nonetheless, if myriad thoughts proliferate, make sure to recognize whatever fluttering thought arises. Thus, with undistracted mind, recognize each fluttering thought, one after the other, and never allow your mind to scatter. As you take a short rest and meditate again in this way, the thought-free mind abides in pristine clarity by the thoughts themselves serving as the holding point for the mind. So here, the main point is the recognition of discursiveness, the recognition of proliferating thought forms. So it is, so you have to, there has to be recognition there, but not recognition that's like intent on the thoughts or latching on in any way. And like, for instance, he said, like, as if you were counting, you know, thinking, oh, I recognize one thought, said two thoughts, now there's going to be another thought coming. So you're not like focused on the thought. The thoughts are sort of happening on the surface and you're aware, but there's not really any engagement with them. So it isn't, you know, if you start sort of anticipating or thinking of the thoughts or trying to keep track of the thoughts, then you will lose your mindfulness. This will actually end up just leading into a state of distraction. It will just cause more thoughts to proliferate. So the main thing is to recognize the thoughts and to not become entangled with them, to not fall under their power. Because if you start engaging or become entangled with the thoughts, then it ends up, there's more, and then you end up, you know, you end up falling into delusion and you completely lose your mindfulness. So instead, it's kind of like you see, it's what's referred to also as observing the movement of the mind. So you're observing the movement of the thoughts, seeing sort of the stream of thoughts, but you're not following after, you're not getting caught up in them. As long as there is awareness there, as long as there is recognition, the thoughts can't really actually do anything. They have no power. They fully lose their power. And so, and so the thoughts actually become the nature of meditation themselves. They're brought into they become the meditation. Okay.
那我这当前那晨曦是牛把是过去是晨曦年呗，晨露年呗，晨曦出新的是两把就呗，他们给点就是这种人莫那起莫那，可是呢晨曦晨露年呗，晨把它露把牛不是过的是，牛不晨露。
Oh, balance.
我牛边的牛不是。
Yeah.
永不是过的是，这晨曦出新的，晨曦他说出那么新过的是的，出新的两把的就被他们给点就是什么，这是意思。俺个这样吃茶呢，别这样媳妇在吃茶说呢，别那么多忙茶呢，这我们家头工嘛，咱们俺们可以听出有的。啊，这样对，俺在路吃茶呢，俺这因为嘛的，他这你这么管嘛不用给，我听就这，这晨曦晨露人不是。
So kung da Jim shoot chena dene gare.
Jam shoot che ran nam to pe mo chu.
Yeah.
Nam to mo chu tene gom ja chu ma re. Shira. Ju lian ga jam na. O tene ha ga lu che na ma ni ku ya da tene ha. Ti ge ha tu gom ja chu ma re.
Yeah.
但是说我这说说看啦的嘞是成些成路看住过的，你把什么当说说看，当然这边错了。我真觉得这是别从起过学的是。
So, really, it's a matter of finding the perfect balance between tightening and loosening. So you want to it's somewhere in between. So you don't go like too much to either extreme. If, for instance, there is too much intensity in the tightening, this will actually cause an increase of proliferation, an increase of discursiveness, and then you won't really be able to meditate. On the other hand, if you emphasize too much the loosening or the relaxation, this will lead to kind of falling asleep or becoming sort of a sinking, and that then also you won't be able to meditate. So it's a matter of really sort of skillfully finding what is the right medium between this tightening and loosening, also depending on your own constitution. So you know kind of what your propensity is, you know what your constitution is, and then you skillfully employ whichever of those methods is really serving to bring you into balance. And so there has to be sort of an effort there in finding that right, the right equilibrium. I thought there was something else he said, but did you put it?
你嘛，这就是泡泡疙瘩一样，是这有的噻，泡泡疙瘩一样。可这今儿我这点点书，今儿我这点长是吧？
진짜.
啊，那今儿我这点点书可能看吧是点长是吧？点长，这里先差不多没着忙不起是吧？真差票都，这里先差啥么那差的，对么肯定不这今儿我吃的是，人同嘛送这是，可能到现你们两个这样的话，人同嘛送这是。今儿我去那一切没都是，但是就同嘛送这的人，我说对么不点有是，同嘛送这一切没都是的是，俺他今儿我去了，真就其实，总把有了状况嘛，总把哪年进步节，你怕忙不着呢，哪年进步有把节，哪年。
Oh yeah. Oh da. Okay.
哪年进步有年纪，我在这了上年Mark 有了 Mark 熊把真的我姐姐看好些，看好些，这咋的没人晓得这去呢？这有了，就让 Mark 那个啥人听把这啥呢？这就让改就东西，Mark 听把这啥了啥呢？改就件事，总把它老是，这咋这去多年没就有了没这全部去多年，这是那老是。 他也用了先差不多没得几次，晓得这哪来是？这呀，这家伙可以子，这没成就起来噻。这我总把他马克拿去看去有了马克，啥子啥呢？可解决东西了噻。晓得可啥子啊？去提纲了这块人对的了，在的拍个出个些忙不差不多忙不点了，这说什么可通用嘛是？ 今儿我修 demo 可能通，那 demo 可能通嘛，总这这个，我在这哪一个这块真的的。
So there is a story about the noble Katayana who was invited to the home of a king, or who was invited, by the king who was a benefactor to his palace. And while he was there, the king entertained him with like a lot of music and dancing and sort of a big show, a big display of entertainment. And then the king asked Katayana, how did you like the show? How did you like the display? And he said, I didn't see anything. And the king was like, what? Because the noble Katayana was so sort of focused in his practice that he didn't actually see the show, and the king didn't really believe him. So then the noble Katayana said to the king, okay, I'll tell you what, you should take like a prisoner, somebody who is in prison, and have them carry a big vessel filled with liquid butter, and like to the very top. And then you should have two people on either side holding like two big knives, to his throat, and tell him that if he drops even a single drop of water on the ground,
oil.
Oil, okay, yeah, oil. Marku, butter, right? Butter, liquid butter, oil. If even a single drop of oil falls to the ground, that that his head will be cut off, that they will cut his neck, right? Or he'll cut his neck. And so, and then have, and then on a, around him have all of these people dancing and the entertainment, the whole show. So the king did this, and meanwhile, so these two big guys with knives at his throat, and the prisoner carrying the vessel of oil, and a huge display of dancing and music and whatnot around him. And then afterwards, the king asked the prisoner, what did you think of all of the dancing, the show? And he said, I didn't see anything. Because his mind was just 100% concentrated on the oil, not dropping, letting even a drop fall.
Right?
So we'll conclude here for today, and we'll do the short dedication on page 24 of the prayer book. I can probably-
By the virtues collected in the three times by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Dakumbhara Ratna Shri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara.
Thank you.
So we will meet here then tomorrow at 10. Thank you, everyone.
Realization. Mahamudra.
Hey, Paula? Paula? Hello? If I could just have your attention. So this evening, we've had a very kind donor offer some dinner for everyone here, so please join us under the patio. Will be served shortly. And Paula had a couple things she wanted to mention to the group. Paula?
Just if anybody purchased a book and wants, and would like to pay for it now, you can come see me. If you want to just go online and pay for it through PayPal, you can do that. Also, anybody who would like to talk to me about registration for today can see me today or tomorrow.
Great, thank you very much. See you tomorrow, or see you at dinner, actually. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is this text that I gave you
Yeah.
is filled with footnotes that are
Oh.
instructions by Darshan Rinpoche
Cool.
that are really good.
Oh,
They're
cool.
really interesting.
Nice.
So people might want to see those.
Okay. Is it freely available or do? Wow.